Hi, Mark. How's it going? This is all for you. We are all here tonight. We're actually going to go over our overnight camping badge. I didn't want to do this the day of the camping trip because you may not be ready for it. You get here and not have certain things you need. So I wanted to do this in advance. One of our Dog Scout members has allowed us to use her house tonight. We've already been out for a walk, had a good time. It may be a little bit dark. I hope this comes out good enough for you, Mark. You should be able to see this and hear me, I hope. So again, guys, what we're here for tonight is the overnight camping badge. We've already gone through 3 steps outside. We've built our tent, we've done our fire building, and we've looked at campsite selections. So that was part of it, and we'll go over some of that in a little bit more detail through the presentation here.
Thank you.
Let me get it started.
Hi, everybody. Say hi.
Hi.
Hi. While we're waiting for Jim. Bailey. You got quite an audience there.
Alright, you can see me down here, right?
Yep.
I'm going to do this down here. Maybe my battery may be dead. Has been working, but what are we getting into? Alright, we will be out hiking. Part of the badge requirement is we have to hike at least a half a mile out to our campsite. So that's stage 1. Alright, we're going to have to prepare a meal over an open flame. So we will do that. We'll build at least one good fire. Everybody going for their badge again has to build their own fire. But we'll have at least one good one that we'll actually build our meal with. So think about that in terms of we're going to need some pots and pans. We have a couple things. Teresa's got her coffee maker already out for Monday or for the morning. All right, we're going to need to know how to identify all our needs for camping. We're going to dress for the conditions that we're going to be in. It will be late September, early October there, so it's probably going to be chilly at night. The days will probably be nice, but it could be very chilly at night. So we have to think about those layers in what we're going to need for our trip. Okay, we're going to want to make sure we pack appropriately, not too much, but we don't want to forget stuff. We're going to find out not how to get lost. We really don't want to get lost out there. Okay, getting help if you do get lost. Build a fire to keep critters away. Avoid known hazards. What happens when we got to go poop in the woods? Sometimes when we eat some of this camp food, it may not settle with us and we may have to poop more than we want. Alright, we want to make sure we go with the laws of leave no trace. We don't want to create any damage, we don't want to take anything we don't necessarily have to, and we want to be careful with that. And handling our dogs responsibly. Alright, what are you guys getting your dogs into? How many people here have camped with their dogs in the past? We have one.
We camp in the living room.
In the living room. Teresa and I have camped. I don't know if it's been a really long time since we've camped in the woods. We do tend to camp in our van quite often, doing trips with our dogs. But there is going to be a little bit trickier out there, guys. Some of our tents, some of our dogs could get through these tents if they really wanted to. All right. Well, the dogs are going to have to wear their backpacks and carry their own items. I know many of you are working on or just gotten your backpacking badge. That's a requirement for getting your camping badge. All right? The dogs are going to need to stay close to us and walk on a nice loose leash. And we're going to have to avoid chasing any wildlife. All right? Basic needs for camping. Guess what, guys? We need food, we're going to need water, we need shelter. All right? What is the priority there?
Water.
Water more than likely, but sometimes shelter. I mean, if it's really cold out, I mean, you can die pretty quick from, it doesn't even have to be a winter day. I mean, if it's raining and it's really cold, your body can lose temperature really quick. So, although almost everybody thinks of water as being a highest priority, it can be shelter. All right? You can die really quick in cold, rainy weather. All right? We're definitely not going to be out there in that little camper. All right? It's not going to be quite that luxurious. All right, we're going to have to think about our special considerations for backpacking with our dogs, okay? Your dog's going to need to know the rules for where we are heading. All right, we're going to need to make sure we know know the rules for where we're going in terms of we know for our trip we are going to be on private property, we're going to be in the woods, so we have a little bit extra leeway. But if we were going to a campsite, all right, that campsite may restrict dogs from being on leash at all times. So we have to know that. Some campgrounds may not accept dogs, so we don't want to plan a trip and then find out dogs are not allowed. All right, we're going to have to know areas for vaccinations. All right? If we were actually taking a trip out in California, Lyme disease out there is really not that big of an issue. But out here in the Northeast, we've really got to worry about ticks. And everybody's hearing about the mosquitoes and West Nile virus, thank you. And it's getting really bad all over the country. So down in Texas, I mean, we're actually going to want to worry about treating our dogs and actually using insect repellent on their dogs. A lot of people up in the Northeast really don't do that. At least I know of a few, I've seen it once in a while. But, I mean, some areas of the country are really bad for certain types of diseases. All right, we're going to want to make sure we have our ID cards. All right, make sure you have that information. And so if you were to get lost, all right, or if the dog was to get lost, can that person find them? And when we're saying even on a temporary ID card, we may, if we're living or camping outside our general area, we were actually taking a trip to Texas, all right, you may want to have an ID card with that hotel's phone number. All right, it's not going to do you much good to have contact information back here in the Northeast when we're 2,000 miles away. All right, we're going to start with short day trips. Everybody in here, we've been hiking and camping all summer long, so our half-a-mile trek is going to be a piece of cake. There's not a dog in here who hasn't been working out with us all summer long. All right, we're going to let somebody know our plans. I mean, here you can see we're going to have a bunch of people, but if you were going out with 1 or 2 people, you're definitely going to want to let 1 or 2 other people know where you're heading. Okay. Keep your dog leashed and under control. Again, we will have the luxury of letting our dogs off leash at times because we're going to be on private property. All right, we are going to want to pick up after our dog. All right, we'll be able to pick up, use our poop bags, and get rid of those at the end of the trip. And we're definitely going to want to watch for signs for heat exhaustion. Okay, we're going to, again, we've talked really quick that we're going to be in late fall. All right, we're going to have to worry about possibly rain. All right, last year, it was early October, we had a huge snow and ice storm. All right, so we're going to have to watch for what the possibilities are. But you're going to want to dress in layers. Different types of clothes will have built-in layers, but you really want to be able to wear like long underwear, okay, thermal underwear, maybe a t-shirt, maybe a sweatshirt, maybe a heavier jacket, maybe a raincoat. What is that? 5 layers right there. So during the day when we're hiking, guess what? We may just be in a t-shirt. But when it comes to being nighttime, we may be in all 5 layers because it's going to be cold. So you need to consider that.
It's already cold here at night.
Yep, it's, the owners here is already saying it gets cold here at night. So you are going to have to plan for those considerations. All right, and it is much better to be able to have layers so as you're hiking and you're starting to get really warm and you're starting to sweat, that you can start taking off layers. Because you do not want to get really sweaty and then be really wet in all your inner layers because you're going to get cold really quick and really fast. So you're going to want to really take that into play at the time of year that we're going to be doing this. So again, layering, you can let things in and out. And again, think about whether you want a rain jacket because there's a good chance that we could get wet at that time of year. All right, everybody should know and have this memorized by now. Mary Frances, would you like to give it a try?
Oh, surely. Water, bowl, spare collar, spare leash, poop bags, first aid kit, flashlight, M. Mix. Oh, match. I'm sorry, match. Identification, compass, knife, and signaling device.
Cool.
Sorry about the match.
And as you can tell, Mary Frances was not looking at the screen.
No, I was not.
All right, so those are all our items that our dogs have to carry. One thing, this is actually a little bit more into the backpacking badge, guys, but I do want people to think about it because we do have smaller dogs that go with us. All right, weight is a really big consideration for our smaller friends that are going with us. Some of us have really 85-pound German Shepherds. Guess what? They could carry the smaller dogs and their backpack plus their own pack.
I'm all for that.
So here I listed this out, guys. I can always print this out and give it to you guys later if you wanted to. But you need to think about what your dog can physically carry. All right? And in most cases, for the guys starting out with the backpacks and stuff, don't plan on putting, even for that small dog, 4.5 pounds in it that first day. Start light and work up. And some of the smaller dogs, guess what? The human partner may have to take a little bit bigger load than some of the other people. Because I'll show you some of the stuff later on, but you'll see that one of the lower volumes is only a half a liter of water. For a 48-hour trip or even a 36-hour trip, a half a liter of water, even for the dogs out there working, is not going to be enough. So unique weight is really important. But you can see here the 25% and the 30%, guys. General rule of thumb. A nice healthy dog can carry 25 to 30% of their weight. So a 15-pound dog can go from a 3.7 pounds to about 4.5 pounds is that max weight. And you need to consider everything that you're doing there. All right? This is the list that I have put together for you guys. Many of you guys know I have done this. I've bought a lot of this stuff in bulk, and I'm giving it to everybody at what it actually costs. I went through and divided all the prices, the whole 9 yards. I don't believe anybody can get any of this stuff cheaper. They're good quality items. All right, I'm not saying they're the best quality items. I mean, the knives, I think, $13 knives. You can buy knives in the hundreds. So these are good quality for what we're doing. I'm not telling you that they're the best thing out there in the world. But again, I did post this list on our Eventbrite sites. But you can see with this list, I've listed it's 21 ounces just for your first aid kit and your survival items. Okay, that's 21 ounces. If you needed to figure it out, pounds, divide it by 16, and that'll give it to you. Okay, I put it in ounces just because it's easier to do the math later on. All right, other items are required. Right? Again, everybody in this room knows that I sell stuff, so I use items that I have in my store, my stock, so that I can give good, accurate weights. There is items out there that may be lighter. Okay, there's definitely some items that'll be out there heavier. But we all are going to need to have some sort of water bowl for our dog, a collar, okay? And you can see here, I use what I use in my own dog. I've got a 1-inch collar, and that weighs 2.2 ounces. You'll see later on when I show for some of the smaller dogs, a 1/2-inch martingale I think was like 1-point-something ounces. So that's how we cut and reduce the weight for the smaller dogs, okay? A reflective leash is really nice to have in the dark, okay? If you're out there walking, especially if you get lost. Poop bags. I use a heavier weight poop bag because I don't like touching poop. Right? You can buy cheaper. Again, that would save some weight. It's not a lot, but it's a little bit. So for your other required items, again, for a medium-sized dog, 8.5 ounces. Oops. All right? And then I have put down here things for when you pack, depending on what you use. Many of you guys have the Palisades pack. That is 21 ounces all by itself. Completely empty, brand new, is 28 ounces. All right, the approach pack is what some of the smaller dogs are using, and that's 19 ounces. So you can see right there, it's a fairly lighter pack. The difference, remember, is though, is you would have to now add your water containers because the Palisades contain their water containers. So you have to think about those types of things when you're packing for your dog. The platypus, just an empty platypus, 0.5 liter is 0.5 ounces. Okay, it doesn't weigh very much. Water. Water is one of the biggest things that you can control with your dogs. I mean, we have to have some of these other items. But you can see just a 1/2 liter of water weighs 17 ounces. So it's over a pound in just a 1/2 liter. And that's just the water, guys. There's no containers. It's just the water. Emergency blankets, beds that you may want to put. Some of like the Palisades can actually carry certain size beds in them for your dogs to lay on in your tent. Alright, so here I've changed it a little bit. I've combined some of this weight for you guys. I've done the approach pack, a 1/2 liter of water, your first aid kit and survival minus the splint. Alright, I'm trying to reduce the weight. Smaller collar and a bowl. You can get that down to 3.63 pounds. So you can see that you can definitely be in your weight limits even for the smaller dogs. A 15 to 30 pound dog, we've moved up to the approach pack with a 1 liter bottle. And we have the full gear in it. That's only 5.19 pounds. And then for some of the bigger dogs, 30 plus pound Palisades with 2 liters of water, your first aid kit, survival kit, and your dog gear, 7.81 pounds. So you can see for those larger dogs, you don't have a problem. I mean, some of those larger dogs can carry 20, almost 30 pounds. So you don't have any problem with your bigger dogs. It's the little dogs we have to worry about. Other things that you want to think about for your dogs, depending on where we're going. We know our trip is going to be in a wooded area. We've been on it, and we've been on the trails. It's not really rocky. There's not much sharp out there. So would I worry about boots? No. If we were going ice camping, snow camping, or in a rocky terrain, last time we went on a rocky terrain, you guys know Pyro cut his path.